Hello, and thanks for joining us at Universal Heritage Television Nigeria. Today, we are continuing our breakfast show, Daybreak Nigeria, on your premier online television in Imo State. The elections of 2023 is still in the front burner, and today we are going to look at the election and democracy in Nigeria. My name is Afam Echi, your host. Please remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform at the end of the program. I have Barrister Nwaketi Lawrence, former chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Owerri branch, with me to look at the issue. Barrister, you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Afam. Thank you, viewers.
Barrister, I understand that this period is a glorious moment for lawyers. On a lighter note, because there's so much of litigation going on here and there, both those who won and those who did not win, everybody is struggling to defend, and the lawyers are in for a good moment. So how are you preparing for the occasion?
First of all, lawyers are Nigerians, even though people should not look at our preparation or what we are doing from the point of view of the monetary angle.
Okay.
No, we are setting the record straight, because some of the crooked things that have been done in the election, our duty is to unearth them and put them right. That is what we do. And people should not see it from the point of view glorious. At times, most of these petitions, look at the people involved, you can seize them, get justice without talking much about money. So
it is all in defense of democracy?
Yes.
Okay, but at least something will fall from anyhow.
A worker is entitled to his wages.
Okay, good laborer is deserving of his wages.
Of course.
Okay, so let's talk about the issue right now. Now, democracy is defined elementarily as a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Looking at what we have in this country today, looking at the government at all levels, to what extent will you say what holds in reality reflects the definition of democracy? What we are having in practice, is it in tune with what is expected of us?
I thank you very much for referring to that famous speech by the then American president, Abraham Lincoln. That was in Gettysburg, 1863, when he was at the memorial of those who died during the American Civil War. And the Civil War in America was fought to keep America one and to maintain the ideals of the American nation, which is freedom and right to the pursuit of happiness. Now, when we bring it back to Nigeria, your question becomes pertinent, whether what we are doing today or what has happened just recently can be likened to. We put it across vis-a-vis that statement that has remained eternal. The answer is no, because democracy, the original practitioners of democracy were the Greeks. The Greeks, they believe in the Republican nature. Everybody comes around and takes decision. You know, there must be consensus before a decision was taken in the old Greek state. And down here, among all the nations in Nigeria or Africa, is the Igbos that have that
practice.
That practice, like a Republican practice. No one now will gather. You only head, you are a titular head as the elder. Every adult male member will have a say and contribute. At the end of the day, consensus. At a point, they do what we call delegates. They will appoint one or two persons who can reason very well, who are tacticians, go out, discuss, and come back and tell us what to think about. Because from discussion so far, we've been able to identify two issues. Go out, discuss about it, come and inform the House. They will go out, discuss, and then come and we have decided that look at the way, and everybody will take it, and it will go. That was democracy, as practiced by our people, before the coming of the white man. Now, in the larger sense, democracy is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. A government of the people, meaning that that government is a government owned by the people. A government by the people, meaning that that government is manned by the people. That government is being run by the people. A government for the people means that the end beneficiaries of that government is the people. If you compartmentalize these three aspects, you find out that the greatest beneficiaries of the government is the people. But does it happen in Nigeria? The answer is no. What happened the last time was a situation where people were not allowed to express their desires through the ballot. If you want to talk about government of the people, it starts at the polling unit. Voting must be by secret ballot. There'll be nothing like coercion, intimidation.
Okay. Let me halt you there, Barrister.
Okay.
We'll come to this issue we want to talk about. Now, looking at, you have admitted that we are not actually practicing democracy in reality. Now, where will you locate our failure? Is it in the process? Is it in the system? Is it in the institutions? Or is it in the people, the actors? Where actually will you? The entire?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can in the process, for example, the last election, there was a law passed by the House of National Assembly, saying that results should be transmitted electronically. Mm-hmm. That is system. Sorry, the process. Now, during the main election, the actors, the principal custodians of that system, the people whose duty it was to carry out, to run the system, violated their own rules. Therefore, the process that would have bettered a free, fair and credible election that at least gives confidence to everybody, participants alike, was destroyed because the process was manipulated. Now the actors, the politicians themselves, are the main problem. You see, when you don't see politics as a do or die affair, everybody is a beneficiary. Democracy is a game. If you lose and you believe that you've lost gallantly, you extend your hands of fellowship and congratulations to the winner. You hug yourself, and then you'll be participants. You understand? You'll be a participant in the art of governance. You must not be appointed to that government, but at least you will volunteer your own ideas on how to make the country work. That is the way it is done. And you go back to the drawing table and find out why you lost. So when you look at the totality of the components, we have a problem. And our people, the masses. You see, this is the era of social media. It wasn't like this 4 years ago. You see pictures online where people were queuing up to collect 2,000, 1,000 to vote. The question is this: if you collect 2,000 naira to vote, will that 2,000 naira take care of your problem for 4 years? The answer is no. But you see people, because of poverty of the mind, they will sell their votes. When you sell your votes, you have sold your entire generation. Because it is your vote, your prayer. You always ask God. I remember the Vice President, Yemi Osibajo, in one of his speeches said, what you vote, whom you vote, the way you cast your vote is a manifestation of what you ask God, how you want God to fulfill it. For us, if you are asking, my children, I want them to get work after school, I want education to be this, quality of education to improve, and then you collect 2,000 naira and vote for somebody you don't believe in. Yeah. That is the kind of prayer you want God to answer. And God, when God is answering that prayer, you shouldn't complain. So you see, even the masses, majority of them, are part of this problem. Because having studied their psyche, the politicians will weaponize poverty in such a way that the people become vulnerable. And anything goes. And that's what we are. The last election, I must say, to a large extent, people came out, defied money, defied any pecuniary interest, came out to vote. Came out to vote for whom they believe in. But the institution whose responsibility it is to make the process, credible, violated that vow, that trust. They breached it. So that's my thinking.
Okay, Barrister. You see, from the picture you painted, it's like borrowing a statement in the Bible. All of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. The politicians, the leaders and the led, the institutions, everything, and this thing has been happening over time. From the last dispensation, let us say, I think from 1999 to date, democracy has spanned over 24 years, like that. And we have not been able to have a credible election. Virtually all the elections that have come since then are flawed. The democracy could also not work, even immediately after the colonial masters left. After a while, it collapsed, and then the military now came in. It has been like that until today. Now, what it shows, if after 24 years we cannot institute a credible democratic system, will you still say that democracy is possible in Nigeria? And let me advert your mind to the entire nation of Africa, Africa as a whole. We still have issues. We still have issues about democracy. You have still tight government here and there that refuse to leave power. So this democratic process that is introduced from outside, it is not indigenous. Have you ever thought in your mind that maybe we can reinvent other processes, other ways to get it right? Because we have continued to do the same thing and we continue to fail. I don't know if you get my question.
I get your question.
Yeah. So what else can we do differently?
First of all, I do not buy your excuse.
Okay.
That is not indigenous. Okay. Culture and tradition are dynamic. Even ways of life are dynamic. Generally, everybody is embracing democracy. Even in the communist world, they are running elections. Yeah. It doesn't matter how. So it's an evolvement. Something that evolves from one pattern to the next. You call it evolution.
Over time.
Now, that is why it is dynamic. It is not stable. It's not static. Mm. I think the problem we have, like the last one, the blame should be laid squarely at the feet of INEC.
The institution.
Simple. Yes. Greed and that impunity that is embedded in the ordinary or typical black man. Impunity. Because if you look at the laws, look at the processes, there's a provision that says if there's a dispute in the period of collation, if there's a dispute between the result entered in the central result sheet, like from EC 8E, and then, or 8D, and then there is a dispute with what is coming from the booth, you will pause and compare and resolve that issue before you make a return. Did they do it? How many times did the opposition members storm out of INEC collation? Because the attention of the chairman was drawn severally to, discrepancies. He turned a deaf ear because he had a mission. He had a mission. Anybody can conclude that he had a mission to do a harsher job. Because why would you bypass your own law? The law setting you up. Why would you bypass your own rules? Except you are working to a determined end. So you see, I will not blame the politicians much, even though they have their blame. That desperation, that do or die mentality, like I've earlier on mentioned. But who is the person who calls the shots? The person who calls the shots is INEC. In Abia State, there was a returning officer. Incidentally, she lectures in Futo here. What did she do? She said, no, I will announce the result the way it is. I will not bend it. And nobody did anything. At the end of the day, she announced the result. That is why you need institutions that are strong, and people that make institutions strong are the operators of that institution. Institution is strong, institution is strong. It's the operators of that institution. Because if the operators of that institution decides to mess up that institution, decide to water down the potency of that institution, it becomes watered down. But if they decide to make it strong, to believe in strengthening the institution for full show, it becomes strong. People will respect the institution.
Yeah, Barrister, what you are trying to observe at this point is the human element in the process. You know, if people are able to do things right, everything will work out.
There's human element in everything.
Yeah, there's human element in everything. I think that is where the problem lies. When you are talking about strong institutions, just like you're saying, the institutions are manned by human beings.
Yes, that's what I just said.
So if we get the right persons to do the right things in the right way, everything will pan out fine.
Of course.
Yeah, but that is where the challenge. How do we struggle to get right persons to do right things? Like, for example, the example you have given now about that woman. If every other person had told her step, there wouldn't be this issue.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So how do we get good persons? How do we get them to man positions? You know, without influences.
In INEC today, there are men of character in INEC. Like there's one of the commissioners whose name is Igini. I'm surprised.
Okay, the lawyer.
That man is straightforward, very, very honest, credible, and these are persons that you pick and appoint them there. Okay. But when you appoint people without looking at their background, when you appoint people based on your ethnic background, where they are coming from my place. That is what we have in the person of Mahmoud. The current president appointed him because he's his kinsman. And look at where we are today. So until we see Nigeria as a project where tribe, religion, and ethnicity are relegated to the second position and Nigeria to the first position, then this country will work. But insofar as we see Nigeria as a project where that comes second after my tribe, that comes second after my religion, we are going nowhere. That is why we're where we are today. And I think the Southerners, with due respect, are doing enough of that. Because when Jonathan was president, he never appointed a Southern INEC chairman. He never. He appointed Jega. Even though under his watch, all this nonsense started. You see underage voters, you see humongous population, like, you know, people feeding in, post 3 million from Kano, post 100 million from Sokoto. Now, one beautiful thing that these beavers has done is that at least the figures are coming down. Do you understand? When you look at...
What do you mean the figures are coming down?
Yes. Kano could not post
over
a million.
Okay, in the last...
Yes. Before, they will post millions. So gradually we'll get there.
Yeah, but some people attribute that to voter apathy.
It's not true.
You don't agree?
There was large turnout. What we had was voters the system suppressing votes because a particular candidate was not wanted. That was it. You suppress the votes. For instance, in Lagos, you suppress the votes so that a particular candidate does not come in. That was what happened.
Okay.
Ordinarily, if the turnout in this election as even acceptable, as even accepted and acknowledged by international observers, it was the highest so far. When you look at the figures, you find out that something is wrong somewhere.
Yeah.
Voter suppression.
Yeah, the interest shown by people
Yes.
will not match
Yes.
the number of
over 12 million young new voters.
into this.
More than half of those that voted were the first timers. They wanted to vote. Yeah. People came back from abroad, bought tickets, came just to cast their vote. And at the end of the day, somebody sat somewhere and messed it up. So that is why democracy in Nigeria is not the rule by the people, not for the people. No. It's a rule by a group of people who decide to change results. But the masses will decide to sit down somewhere and change the results with impunity. Have you ever seen a situation since the advent of this Fourth Republic that people are protesting women going naked? That's the worst of it. Going naked, protesting. Because they are the people that feel the pangs of bad governance.
And their wishes were not respected.
Yes.
Not respected.
So at the end of the day, you sit down and write something. Because maybe you've collected some millions of dollars or whatever. And you sit down and write something and throw the entire wishes of the people to the dustbin with impunity.
Yeah, Barrister, this factor we have identified, the issue of impunity, you know, is one thing that impedes the practice of democracy. And if you look at the way politicians ride roughshod over the people and they act like lords, you know, if you take what happened in the last election, at the presidential level, Timbo is saying, Emiloko, it is my turn. And you begin to wonder on who's the people he reached that agreement for it to become his turn. And then everything from the primaries appeared to be plotted to favor him until he emerged. If you look at in the last election too, in Imo State, look at what the ruling party did. You know, marched on everybody, you know, and they claimed to score 27 over 27. And thereafter, after doing what they have done, according to people who experienced what happened, now the government is saying, thanking in more people. That kind of impunity, where is it coming from? What makes politicians?
It's coming because people, they're taking the people for granted because they believe nothing will happen. But you see, our politicians are majority of them are the most irresponsible. I'll say it without apologies to anybody. Why do I say this? Because they don't have a sense of history. Democracy is a system of peaceful change, effecting change through peaceful means. Now, when you don't allow democracy to work, that is making peaceful change impossible. Then the result is that violent change will be inevitable. That's it. It has been said before any of us here was born.
Yeah.
When you make peaceful change impossible, you make violent change inevitable. Because it is true. That is why you go to beg them. Vote me. If I've not done well, forgive me. I will sit up. I've accepted my mistakes. I think I plead with you. The people can have a change of heart and vote you back. Now, if there are, so many persons vying for a particular position, for instance, House of Assembly, House of Reps, the people have a choice to choose. Among these persons, contestants, who do we think we can trust with our mandate? And they pick one. And if you allow the free will of the people to go, that is untampered with, that is peaceful change. But when you suppress it, you are making violent change inevitable. Because the youth, we've forgotten so soon that NSAS was caused by the police brutality, especially the notorious Department of Police called SARS. And what happened? Nigeria stood still. And they suppressed using violence. I think it is the same playbook that they're acting now. Using violence, believing that if they come out, we will unleash the military. But you see, that is not possible. That is, even the military will turn their guns on them, because that soldier you want to use, his wife, you don't pay him. When the money for his salaries, allowances come, one big oga somewhere will pocket it. And he'll be in the bush suffering. And when he dies in line of duty, you abandon his family. You think he's not a human being? A time will come when they will turn their guns on those people who are the oppressors. They will join the people, because their allegiance is to the people, not to you. The same thing is applicable to the police. Their allegiance is to the people, not to you, to the Constitution. And when you think you can do anything and then you believe you will leave them up, you are making a big mistake. And I think what is happening, it has gotten to a point where if this kind of thing, care is not taken, the people may decide to change the system using any means legitimate. Even protest a legitimate means, legitimate to change the system. And then because you refuse to allow peaceful change. So you see, our politicians are the worst set of human beings on the face of this earth. Because when you go outside other countries, you see the politicians, even some smaller African countries, that are looking up to us. You see their politicians, listening to the people, accepting verdicts, making sure that the people's wishes count. But here, we have principalities and powers. We have people that they refer to themselves as demigods. Their time is up. This election has shown that people are angry with the system. They're angry with the system. And everybody is keeping quiet. Let me tell you, Mr. Pitobi, a friend of mine, likened him to a traffic warden who is at the road junction raising his hand. All the vehicles in attention stopped. That is easy, because he heard, please hold your peace, I'm going to court. That is the man that is holding Nigeria now. If this set of dungheads that call themselves politicians, if they don't know this, unfortunate, because he is the person that is holding the peace of this country. Because by nature he is peaceful. By nature he follows issues. He applies due process. But at any moment he says, I don't believe in this process, then to your tent, O Israel. These people, you see them scamper into their private jets and run away from Nigeria. It will be very, very difficult for them to do that. Very difficult, because the people will not allow them to run away. They will stay here. Because it's getting out of hand. It's really getting out of hand. So, all eyes are now on the judiciary to do the right thing. Because the people who felt robbed, it was an open thing. In law, we say something is notorious. It's an open thing. They felt robbed. They felt cheated. Even it's not the candidate that lost or that you rigged out that the injustice affects much. It is the people who invested their mandate on him that you've told, go to hell, you can't do anything. That is what they don't understand. The bigger version of the impunity is against those people who said, look at the person we trust, and then you think you are dealing with Mr. A, the person you rigged out. No! The millions of people that say those are the people you are testing their anger. You are testing their resolve. And he has told them, wait, don't do anything. And everywhere is calm.
While they are watching.
Yes, and they are watching. I am pleading with their lordships, the judiciary. Don't fail Nigerians. You have a duty to keep this country. I remember in the heat of the military interregnum, our judiciary had their heads and shoulders high. There are so many cases handed down by our judges. So many of them, courage, raw courage. Please, if you can stand the judiciary and the heavens did not fall, tempt these politicians. Yeah. Use the law and tempt them. The people will be with you. They will support you. That is my plea to the judiciary. All eyes. Because if you don't do the right thing, Nigeria will burn. Okay. People will lose confidence, and when they lose confidence, nobody will be free.
Okay. Okay. One more question, one final question before we leave. Now, the people believe that politicians are so desperate, they do everything to get power by all means, by hook or crook, just because they find the situation the positions they occupy very, very attractive. What if we make we withdraw or reduce the perquisites attached to these offices? Do you think it will still be very, very lucrative? So that only those who actually mean to serve Nigeria creditably in their hearts, who mean to contribute and develop the likes of P2B, you know, so how would you look at that if we can make a law withdrawing all the perquisites? You know, like the ordinary civil servants committed to his job, is there every time delivering, and yet they are at the
why do you think they are fighting P2B?
Okay.
If you read his manifesto, part of the things he's proposing is making this job of governance a non-making, money-making venture. To be more of service-oriented. That's why they gang up by some of these criminals that go by name politicians. Some of them are criminals, not all of them. There are good ones amongst them. Yeah. The criminal ones amongst them, they gang up, and they are ganging up because they know that once he comes in, he will want to cleanse the system. He wants to sanitize the system. He is somebody that has conquered man's greatest problem, that is greed. Yeah. And then he wants to impart it. And you see, an idea which time has come cannot be stopped by anybody. Yeah. The time for that idea is now. Because everybody is crying. Look at the debts. This outgoing government of APC has sunk Nigeria into debt that will take generations to pay. So we can't afford to be dancing Makosa. Okay. When we're in problem, when we have issues. So we can't be talking of going back to the house to continue to earn humongous salaries and allowances when we're in debt. We borrow to pay those things. No, it can no longer continue like that. We need somebody who will do a surgical operation on this country. Yeah. And that person is the person that are ganging up against.
It's okay. What is your final words to our people? We're rounding off the program at this point.
Yeah. It has been said, Nigerians should stay calm since the disputation, the election disputation has moved from the ballot box to the courts. Let us give the courts the benefit of doubt to do the right thing. We don't need to take the laws into our hands. Let us believe that our judiciary can and has the capacity to do the right thing. And like I said, the judiciary should know that the eyes of the international community is on them. Because I remember it was on the news that one of those that gave judgments, certain judgments affecting Imo State, were denied visa. Yeah. So the entire international community is angry. It's a global village. Whatever happens in one country affects others. So they are angry. So they should do the right thing to salvage the image of Nigeria. It doesn't look as if we are a nation of crooks. We are not.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution, and thanks for coming. Viewers, this is where we draw the curtain, and you have heard it all from him. He has faulted the democratic process. He has cautioned the politicians, the greedy ones and the criminal ones among them, and he has asked the judiciary to live up to expectation and bail out this country. Meanwhile, too, he has also asked Nigerians to keep hope alive, that all hopes are not lost. And with that, we come to the end of this program. My name is Afam Eche. I have to remind you to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. And continue to keep in touch with UHTV Nigeria, your premier online television in Imo State. Thank you so much.